cloudy, but like it's out. It's trying. It's trying hard.
Yeah. Well, my grandson's here, and the rest of his family's coming after at noon, and we're going to go bowling in Astoria.
That sounds fun.
Yeah.
That's always more fun, I think, than I remember every time I go.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
Boy, if you don't do it for a while, you lose it. That's for sure.
I mean, I was never good to begin with, so there's that. That's
You have to be on a league.
more fun, I think, than I remember every time.
Yeah.
We are now streaming live to YouTube.
Okay.
Thanks, Katie.
Robert, who are we expecting for this meeting?
Just let's see, 1, 2, Heidi and Cassie.
Okay. Did Chrissy say if she would be here? I don't recall. I didn't catch that.
She never confirmed one way or another, so I don't know. Mary might know, but I'm not sure.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry, I should get something on here.
Mary doesn't know.
Thanks, Mary.
Thank you, Mary.
Hi, Gwen. Welcome.
Hi there. Thank you.
Yeah. And hey, Cassie. Thanks for joining. I think we're just waiting for Heidi, who said she'd be here at 11. So we'll give it a few more minutes.
Will anyone be here to advocate for the property?
Yes, we'll have George and the owner, Bonnie, who look like everybody is. Okay. Looks like everybody's there, just waiting.
Robert, I made you the host now.
Okay, I just got a notice like, ooh, I have power, it feels like. So thanks, Katie.
I will log off once you get going.
Okay. Oh, hi, Chrissy.
Hi.
We're just waiting. Looks like Heidi's joining us now. And then we will be ready to get started.
Good morning.
Hi, Heidi. Thanks for joining.
Hi. You're
Yeah.
sideways, Heidi.
Am I? Oh,
Yeah,
how about that?
that's nice.
It's a different approach to doing readings. New perspective.
I can't. Yeah, I'm on my phone, so I can't see what yeah.
Let's see. Well, we can go ahead and get started. It looks like we have a quorum now, and everyone is here that we were expecting. So, if I can turn it over to you, Heidi, to kind of kick things off, and we'll get started.
Sure thing. Okay, we are recording, right? It said.
Yep, I'll
Well,
record
to-
in.
Okay. I'd like to welcome everybody to the Friday, March 29th, 2024 meeting of the State Advisory Committee on Historic Preservation. We go ahead and do roll call, or I will just say who I see who is here. That makes it easier for everybody. I see Jacqueline Chang, Julie Osborne, Gwendolyn Trice, sorry.
Say it again. No.
Let me do it 3 times. Yeah. Cassandra Rippey. Did I pronounce your last name better than I did Gwendolyn's?
Yeah, you're good.
I believe that is it for commissioner members, correct? Oh, and myself, Heidi Slaybaugh. Yes. All right. For staff, I see that we have Chrissy Curran and Ian Johnson and Robert Ogling. Oh. Anybody else on the line that I missed?
Mary Newcomb here as well.
Oh, hi, Mary. There you are. You were just on SACHP. Okay. Now you have a face and a name. Thank you. All right. So are there any issues or concerns from the public that are not on the agenda today?
We do not have any items that were submitted or things that aren't related to agenda item today.
Okay. All right. Then next we have approval of our March agenda, which has a whopping 2 other items on it. We have the update from Deputy Shippo and Associate Shippo, and then the review of and I don't know how to pronounce it, the Malgrim Garage and Talent. Everybody looks like they're in favor. Would anybody like to make a motion to approve our March agenda?
I so move.
Thank you,
Second.
Gwen. And Julie seconds. Thank you. Well, then let's move on. Chrissy, do you have some updates for us today?
Well, to be honest, I have been out on family medical issues for a couple of weeks, and most of our updates have to do with staffing. And I think Ian is probably better equipped to update you to the minute on that. So I'm going to kick it to Ian. Sorry, dude.
No problem. Thank you, Chrissy. So you'll provide a very brief staffing update. So as of this moment, we have filled the Natural Resource Specialist 3 position vacated by Shane James. The person hired for that is Aspen Kimmerlin. She did accept the offer, but it's coming from Georgia, so she will be arriving some time towards the end of May. We have also filled the limited duration Natural Resource Specialist 3 limited duration positions run through the biennium, which currently ends June 30th, 2025, although we've requested funding to continue those positions. The person filling that position is Kirsten Lopez. She previously served as an intern for us many years ago and has gone on to have a successful career in historic preservation. She's coming to us from a local contractor currently in the Portland area. She joins us May 1. She's finishing up some projects for her current employer and then will be able to join us. We just recently welcomed Heidi Shuchuk. She worked with us as a temp, specifically with the supporting our preservation plan with me. She's joining us as a program assistant 1, supporting both our compliance functions, both logging in cases, and then helping with organizing the paperwork and getting the survey data in. We have kind of a narrow end of the funnel problem, both in that initial login for compliance cases and then moving it through. She'll also be supporting Robert's unit kind of broadly as she has time to do so. And our position for Jason Allen, or the call for Jason Allen's position, has not yet gone out. We'll be putting that out soon enough. We're waiting for staff to settle up a little bit more so we have staff to actually train that position. But we are closing the above ground compliance reviewer, which was reclassed as a natural resource specialist 4, which is a pretty significant pay increase and classification increase from what it was before. That closes, was going to close Thursday. We've a little shallow on applicants, so we've extended through midnight on Monday to see kind of what we pull in for applicants there. So I'm hopeful we'll get a good pool. So in sum, we're finally moving forward on some of these hires. We kind of run into some the normal, I guess, roadblocks, but we're going to have those positions filled. I do expect us to be doing a lot of training through the end of the year, getting everyone on board. The only other thing I would mention, and you're already aware of it, we talked about it at our last meeting, but the upcoming Heritage Conference in Forest Grove, Oregon. You all get permission to that, so do consider attending. All the information is on our website. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Thanks, Ian. All right. Well, if there's nothing else from you guys, we can move into our review of the property for the National Register nomination. And Robert, are you going to make me just wing this off the top of my head? The thing that I'm supposed to say, that long thing at the beginning?
I can share that on the screen if that would
Okay.
be helpful. Just give me a second. Because it is long, you're right.
Yeah, I don't have it memorized.
I'd be impressed if you did, but one second.
All right. Thank you. Okay, here we go. Oh, actually, do we have anybody in the audience online?
We do. We have
Okay.
a couple of people. Yes.
Okay, just want to make sure. Thank you. Okay, the National Register of Historic Places is the nation's official list of district sites, buildings, structures, and objects significant in American history, architecture, archaeology, and culture. The records are maintained in Washington, D.C. by the National Park Service under the authority of the National Historic Preservation Act of 1966. Over 2,000 properties located in all 36 counties of Oregon are listed in the National Register. Oregon listings sorry, I have to make it a little bit bigger. There we go. Our Oregon listings presently include over 150 historic districts. In order to oh, now you made it bigger. Hang on. Okay. In order to qualify for listing in the National Register, a property must possess and retain its historic appearance and be historically important at the local, state, and national level. Or national level. A property's historic importance is determined through one of 4 criteria identified by the National Park Service. Those criteria are association with events that have made a significant contribution to the broader patterns of our history, the association with a preeminent individual, displaying distinctive characteristics of a type, period, method of construction, or work of a master, or contains the potential to yield important information on prehistory or history. The review process is limited to the consideration of these criteria and whether or not the document is technically complete and correct. When the committee determines that a nomination is eligible for listing, it recommends that the State Historic Preservation Officer sign the nomination and forward it to the keeper of the National Register in Washington, D.C. for review and listing. Nominations not meeting the listing criteria are either tabled to allow the applicant the opportunity to revise the nomination or not recommended for listing. Yay, did it. All right, we'll turn it over to you, Robert, to present this nomination to us.
Okay, 1 second. Let me share here. And all right, are we seeing the notes side of it or the actual?
The notes as well.
You are? Okay, hold on. Let me. It's always one of those things. Right. Is that showing it?
You just have to turn it to a slideshow and then it will.
Oh, it's not showing the right screen. Sorry. It's one of those where it keeps popping up into another screen. Well, we can do the notes. That's fine if I cannot get. There we go. Did that work?
Hey, you did it.
Yeah, you got it.
Thank you. Bear with me. Okay. So the property before the committee today is the Malmgren Garage in Talent, Jackson County. The property is located in Talent, Jackson County, on the north side of Talent Avenue, the original route of the Pacific Highway through southern Oregon, and occupies most of the tax lot at approximately 0.17 acres in size. The building's approximately 48 feet wide and 90 feet deep, and is a single-story bearing concrete masonry building.
Hey, Robert, it went out of your slideshow. Now we're seeing your screen with all the slides on the side.
A lot of. Is that back?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. We're still on track. The period of significance for the nomination begins in 1924 with the construction of the Malmgren Garage and continues through 1938 when the main route of the Pacific Highway was shifted from Talent Avenue and the Malmgren Garage, as well as the surrounding auto-related businesses that were isolated from much of the traveling public and a brief time were converted to other non-auto related use. The nomination argues that the property has local significance under criterion A in the area of commerce for association with the development of Talent and the importance of the Pacific Highway route that followed Talent Avenue and served as the major north-south highway in Western Oregon until 1938. The nomination also makes the argument for criterion C in the area of architecture as an exemplar of the simple utilitarian garage buildings that were developed to meet the demand for auto storage and repair coincident with shift to automobile transportation. In regard to alterations, the nomination explains that before September 2020, little modification is known to have occurred to the Malmgren Garage. The most significant effect of the building occurred on September 8th of 2020 when the Almeida fire significantly damaged the Malmgren Garage. The building survived the fire as an exterior shell with all wood elements, the roof, and non-masonry interior walls destroyed. Despite those effects of the fire, the building retained substantial integrity of its character-defining features. And following the completion of rehabilitation efforts by early 2024, the Malmgren Garage reflects its historic design and association with the commercial development of downtown Talent and retains its integrity and essential character-defining features, demonstrating its original character and its use as part of Talent's highway-related development. Questions to consider for the committee today is, does the nomination make the case for local significance under criterion A in the area of commerce? Second, does the nomination make the case for local significance in the area of under criterion C in the area of architecture? And then third, does the building retain sufficient integrity reflective of both of those significance, despite those alterations, including the damage from the fire? We did not receive, or there's no certified local government within Talent, so that does not apply, and we did not receive other public comments for this nomination. Does the committee have any comments for me?
I just have one question, Robert. I mean, I think the argument has been made well. I just wondered if there was any discussion about the criterion consideration E.
For like a reconstruction part. One a caveat, I can't remember if this is in the nomination or not, but the building is also currently enrolled in or participating in the federal tax credit program. So they've gone through the part 1 process where they submit to the Park Service for kind of that preliminary, is it eligible or not? They submitted a part 2 that was also approved, and they recently submitted their part 3, know that the building is complete. In those conversations, I don't remember having that conversation with the Park Service, but it doesn't really, but I think it came down to how much of the building survived to determine whether is that a full reconstruction or do we still have a building there to begin with. And so,
no,
yeah,
I think there is. I was just curious about that since so much of it burned. But yeah, the shell is very distinctive. Thank you.
All right, I will turn it back over to the committee.
Okay, thank you. So I understand we have the applicant or perhaps the representative on the line. If we want to turn it over to them for any supporting comments of the nomination, that would be great. And Robert, we can't hear you anymore.
I will work on that. And can you run through conflicts of interest and then
Sure. Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Yes. Do any commissioners have any conflicts of interest or biases to declare?
No.
No. Nope.
No. Okay. Thank you. Does anybody wish to challenge any commissioner? Their lack of biases or conflicts declared? Hopefully not. Okay. All right. Thank you. Now, Robert, if you have them lined up, did I give you enough time?
Yeah.
And
so we have George Kramer is with us, so I can turn it over to George.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Robert. I'd like to thank the committee for this special meeting on this project. And Robert's been incredibly helpful through all that. And it's great to see both Ian and Chrissy on the same call. Thank you, guys. This has been, this is, as you will note, an interesting project. To Julie's question about criterion E, exception E, no, that has not come up in my conversations with either SHPO or with the National Park Service.
Great.
We agree that the building retained enough integrity that it was clearly evident what it was. I've been writing nominations for God knows how long, and we were always taught that integrity was a person on the street. If Mr. Dr. Malmgren came back, would he recognize this building? And the quotation that I put in the nomination from Talent's mayor, living through the Almeida fire, you couldn't barely see the hand in front of your face. There was so much smoke in the valley. And when Mayor Ayers Flood commented at a public meeting that she was watching the news reports trying to decide what had happened to her community and was so discombobulated about where they were filming until she saw the outline of this building against the fire, I thought there's never going to be a better person on the street integrity comment than that. Bonnie, I don't know if Bonnie's on the line or not. Bonnie Morgan and I have worked together in talent for over 20 years. The first building in the city limits that was put on the National Register was the Hanscom Hall, which was built in 1906, a wood frame building that Bonnie listed on the register and did a certified rehabilitation upon, and which was completely destroyed in the Almeida fire. All of the buildings on this side of Talent Avenue were. The Malmgren Garage happened to be the only building made of concrete, and consequently was the only thing that remained. And so this nomination and the certified rehabilitation that Bonnie has done really defines to me what a community landmark is. This building not only has a great history and deserves this recommendation from you, but is a statement on the future of talent as well. And we have received all through this project amazing support from the community. And it's really been, the town up the street is called Phoenix. But this is a building that, like a phoenix, has risen. And I am happy to answer your questions if you have any about the rehabilitation. As Robert mentioned, it is a cert rehab. We did both a part one to confirm that it was historically significant, even in the condition in which it existed at that time. We did a part two, planning the rehabilitation, which was approved by the National Park Service. And we have submitted a part three. And we expect, well, we know that they will also approve that. So I'm confident or hopeful that you will agree that we've done a good job. And it's ready to answer your questions. Bonnie, I'll give you, if you have anything you want to add about this journey.
Well, thanks, George, and thanks to everyone here on the committee. It has been quite a journey, and I'm a total sucker for old buildings, and being the second time I've been through the historic process. When I first called Robert after the fire and talked about the building, and he wasn't sure there was going to be enough integrity, I think that was rather shocking to me. I worked for 30 years in the building, and my desk was right over in the corner there. So it had a lot of soul for me. And I'm incredibly grateful to George and all the work he's done, and the architects. They've been really sensitive to the historic nature of the building, the contractor as well. It really turned out beautiful. And a special thanks to the Talent Urban Renewal. They really helped sponsor us for some Oregon Main Street funding. So there's just been a lot of people that have put energy into the building to make it a real community spotlight on it. And yeah, happy to answer any questions people have.
If I can say one more thing, just in terms of Bonnie's an artist, and the building has got a strong association in its later life with art. They had a pottery studio there. One of the events after the debris was cleared and you could get into the building, held on a beautiful sunny day there's no roof, so there was a lot of sun. The only parts of the building that survived were the concrete and the metal. One of which was the metal flashing that went around the entire interior perimeter, and Bonnie saved a bunch of that and made little shapes of the building.
Yeah.
that were I think I don't know if you gave most of them away, but the intent was that it was a fundraiser. Yeah. And so this one hangs over my desk. And when we talk about the false front and character defining features, anybody in Southern Oregon, anybody that's driven down Talon Avenue knows that this is the Malmgren Garage. So
our stepped parapet.
Our stepped parapet, that's right. So any questions that we can answer for you?
I think my questions, George, is just one, I didn't see a strong comparative analysis included in this proposal. There's obviously the picture of all the different auto garages being constructed at one time. But in a lot of times in the nominations, we'll have example images of different auto garages, how they stand today, and how this one is still really unique in its architectural character.
This one is unique in talent. I don't think that it is unique regionally or locally even. I did reference the Whittle Garage building in Ashland, which is also listed individually on the register. And then all of the buildings in Medford that you talked about. I think from an architectural standpoint, this is a building that epitomizes a particular type that was designed to service a need that didn't exist before the automobile, and was recognizable as such. And so we did talk about some of the development of that type. And the surviving examples in Southern Oregon. But there were, I think, throughout all of, well, certainly prior to the 1950s, there were like 3, maybe 4 masonry buildings in the entire city of Talent. Like 2 survive, this being one of them. And so there's really not a lot of comparison. I mean, there's nothing like it, there's other than the ones that I mentioned in the nomination.
Yeah.
But I think,
So
I think what makes it architecturally significant is not that it is unique, but that it epitomizes a type.
So I just think it needs a little bit more strength in that area under the criteria C. And then I'd also like to see a description of the restoration included in there. I know we have the photos, but I think for the record, we should say, I know it talks about the windows, but kind of a recap of what was done for the restoration process. And maybe I know it's kind of touched on here and there, but maybe just a recap in the summary. Julie, I think you had some comments.
No.
Or questions?
No, I already asked my question. I was just going to say I thought it was a good nomination, and it's nice to hear the stories about it, and hopefully I'll get down there one of these days soon.
Okay. Cassandra?
Yeah, thank you. I just had one question on page 3. You're talking about on the exterior. You mentioned the roof was replaced because it was burned in the fire. Was the original roof also a metal roof? That the type of roof originally on the thing was just unclear.
I think that the original roof was probably shingle. The roof at the time of the fire had been replaced with metal, corrugated metal. And there's a lot of sensitivity about fire in Southern in Talent. And so we elected to propose replacing with a metal roof, a fireproof roof, in keeping with the garage character of the building. And that meets the standards and was sufficient for the Part 2.
Sure, thanks. Yeah, I think it could just expand on what was there, at least at the time of the fire.
Well, my expectation, although not really part of this discussion, but we'll put up historic photos inside in the interior. There will be some sort of a display, plaque on the outside. The restoration and the saving of this building is a much appreciated story in the city of Talent, and Bonnie will certainly figure out a way to document that so people know what we did.
Right. Chrissy, some comments?
Yeah, just really briefly with regard to your comment, Heidi, about the comparative analysis. I know that a lot of preparers do present sort of a marching through of individual buildings that compare to the building they're nominating, and while that's helpful, it's not necessarily required. And what is required is that the reader and the Park Service get a sense of that building in its context. You know, it's the so what question, and there's a lot of ways to answer that question. As long as the preparer gives us a context where we can sort of understand that that's either one of 1,000 in a block, or one in the county or the region or the town, that's really what the Park Service is looking for.
Great, thank you for that clarification. Okay, Jackie, did you have any comments or questions on the application?
I had kind of the same question about the comparative examples as Heidi did, but I think it's been kind of covered in the discussion. But I don't know whether it would be worth including a picture of the one that is mentioned as a comparison. I don't know, a little bit more discussion just because it's mentioned. And otherwise, I think it makes a pretty good argument, and it is nice to know that it went through this 2- and 3-part process during the rehabilitation, which that's helpful to understand what the Park Service and other agencies were talking about its integrity. And I kind of do, and then also knowing that this is a very local nomination, and it is very unique just to talent, it makes for a strong argument for integrity. And I think that's all I have to say.
Okay. Question for you, Robert or Chrissy. Is it worth putting kind of a note in here that says that it's gone through that process with SHPO on the restoration? You know, if I was asking for that kind of a recap of the restoration process, just to have it in this record that, you know, it's gone through this 3-part review. Is that something that we typically add into these nominations for its record?
Robert can weigh in if in the past, when we've had buildings that are sort of in the middle of a tax project or a development project, when it's being nominated, you talk about a little bit about the developmental history, in the either section really, but sometimes what folks will do is in section 7 at the very end, it's sort of like under a little caption, sort of bring it up to date with a description. So it's not part of the case you're making. It's just it's sort of a period on the sentence of the developmental history, and that's often kind of an elegant way to handle it.
And another requirement is at the end of section 9, so your bibliography, there's a previous documentation section, and there's a box that gets checked if it's going through that process or not. That's a requirement by the Park Service to know, is there a connection to a Fed tax project or something, So that, I think kind of between those two pieces, that's how you tell normally.
Okay. George, go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to comment on the section 9 checkbox, but on page 13, we talk about the second to the last paragraph, that the rehabilitation has been completed in accordance with the Secretary of Interior standards. And it would not be at all difficult, Madam Chair, to say and completed the certified rehabilitation process if that's appropriate. This was written before that happened, but we can add that if and to your previous question about the details of the rehabilitation, there are reams of paper in that document about what happened. what we proposed to do and what we did. So
Yeah. Okay. I think
when-
that'd be helpful just to have that in there.
Yeah, when I read that, I wrote down tax credits, so I knew.
Mhm.
well, as you can all imagine, given what's happened to the cost of construction lately, this project ended up costing significantly more than it was originally intended. And without the tax credits and the various grants and public support that have helped Bonnie make this work, it wouldn't otherwise happen. But I think that the budget more than doubled from the time she said, sure, we'll restore it to actually getting a certificate of occupancy.
Yeah, I can only imagine.
And you all are welcome to visit. I actually invited Robert to hold your hearing, the SACHP hearing in this building. But the timing didn't work out, which is why you're meeting today. So you can come to Jackson County anytime.
Okay. Well, the next time we have a meeting down in Southern Oregon, we'll be sure to tour it.
You bet.
Okay, we've heard from Jackie, Julie, Gwen. Do you have any comments on that?
I don't have
nomination?
any additional comments to add to what's already been said. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. And did I miss anyone? No. Okay. All right. Any final thoughts from SHPO staff on the nomination?
Nope.
Ian says no. Chrissy's shaking no. Robert says no. Okay. All right. Well, I think we've sort of deliberated and asked questions all at the same time. We're just making it very concise today. Would anybody like to make a motion or discuss this any further?
I move that this nomination, the State Historic Preservation Officer for this nomination to the National Park Service for listing under criteria A and C. And I think that's it.
I second.
Second, Julie, can I make a friendly amendment that we add some more supporting evidence to criteria C and that description of the restoration process? A brief description.
A brief, okay, very brief. Sure. Friendly amendment accepted.
Okay. All right. Looks like we have an approval. I guess we have to vote. Just kidding. All right. Those in favor of the motion to forward this to the keeper as prepared with additional information or support on criteria C and a description of the restoration in section 7. Say aye or raise your hand. We have a yes from Gwen, a yes from Cassandra. Well, they're all, why are you guys moving? Yes from Julie. I would say yes.
And Jack.
And Jackie. Okay, there's your hand. Yeah, it was hidden behind my face. Those are our commission members for today, so there would be no other no's, but I'll just ask just in case anybody not wanting to forward this on. Great. We had full consensus of approval. Congratulations. Thank you, George, and thank you, Bonnie. This was an amazing restoration process. Really commend you for the work that you've done on this building. I do hope to get down there and see it.
Thank you very much.
Well, Robert?
Yeah, thank you, everyone.
That concludes our agenda for today. Are there any other items we need to discuss or go over?
Nothing more that we have. So thank you all for the extra time and being flexible with us. And our next packet's coming out sooner than later. So watch the mail. It'll be kind of mid-April is when you'll kind of hear about the most recent things. So
okay. Thank you.
Well,
you, Dan.
anybody would like, I need a motion to adjourn.
I move that we adjourn.
Thank you, Julie.
Second,
Oh, Gwen, Cassandra beat you to it.
okay,
All
thank
right.
you.
Everybody in favor of adjourning?
Oh.
All right. Thank you
Okay.
all. Have a great
Bye.
day.